Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha with you tonight. Our daily roundup of all that's happening across India and the world. But before we begin the bulletin, Rajya Sabha TV appeals to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash hands and face regularly, and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. And now, let's get you the headlines. Amid strict COVID safeguards, President Nath Kovind inaugurates 80th All India Presiding Officers Conference in Kevadia, Gujarat. Underscores need to promote a healthy debate in Parliament and legislatures. In his address, Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Venkaiah Naidu expresses concern over protests and unparliamentary behaviour by elected representatives. Lays stress on need to maintain dignity of the Parliament. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla emphasises need for better coordination between legislature, executive and judiciary, calls on presiding officers to dedicate themselves to building a new India with renewed energy. Prime Minister Modi to address last day of presiding officers conference tomorrow. Universities not just centres of higher education but powerhouses in shaping characters and providing inspiration, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Highlights importance of including skill development in curriculum. And the Union Cabinet approves infusion of 6,000 crore rupees in National Investment and Infrastructure Fund. Foreign direct investment of 2,480 crore rupees in ETC Telecom. The 80th All India Presiding Officers Conference began in Kevadia, Gujarat on Wednesday. Amid strict COVID-19 protocols, President Nath Kovind inaugurated the two-day event. The theme of the conference is harmonious coordination of legislative, executive and judiciary, key to vibrant democracy. Here's a detailed report.
A two-day All India Presiding Officers Conference commenced in Gujarat's Kevadia on Wednesday. The event was inaugurated by President Nath Kovind.
अखिल भारतीय पीठासीन अधिकारी सम्मेलन में प्रमुख रूप से उपस्थित
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Speaker of the Lok Sabha Om Birla are also attending the event. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the valedictory session of the conference on Thursday. Around 26 presiding officers are also participating in the conference. The presiding officers of the legislatures will discuss the need for better coordination and cooperation of the three pillars of democracy for strengthening the democracy. The deliberations will focus on the ways for ensuring effective constitutional accountability of the legislature and executive. As the nation will celebrate 71 years of the adoption of the Constitution on November 26th, this conference is dedicated to safeguarding constitutional values. On Constitution Day, all delegates at the conference will also recite the preamble to the Constitution of India under the leadership of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Gujarat last hosted the conference in January 2016 when a 4-day-long event was held at Gandhinagar. In 2019, the Speakers' Conference was held in Uttarakhand, where anti-defection law, building a common digital platform for viewing parliamentary proceedings and ways to smoothly conduct the proceedings of houses were discussed.
Many of the parliamentary innovations in our country find their roots to the deliberations of the All India Presiding Officers Conference. And this time also, there would be rich exchange of ideas, thoughts and experiences between the presiding officers. Reporting from Kevadia, with counterperson Yogesh and assistant Hari Prasad, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Delivering the inaugural address at the presiding officers conference, President Nath said that in a democratic system, dialogue is the best medium for not allowing the debate to become dispute. Listen in. Inaugurating the 80th All India Presiding Officers Conference at Kevadia, President Nath said, in a parliamentary democracy, the opposition has an important role, and along with the ruling party, harmony, cooperation and meaningful deliberation between the two is necessary. He also said that it is the responsibility of presiding officers to provide congenial atmosphere for a healthy debate to the people's representatives in the House and to encourage courteous dialogue and discussion.
संसदीय लोकतंत्र में सत्ता पक्ष के साथ साथ प्रतिपक्ष की भी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका होती है। इसलिए दोनों में सामंजस्य, सहयोग एवं सार्थक विचार विमर्श आवश्यक है। पीठासीन अधिकारियों का यह दायित्व है कि वे सदन में जनप्रतिनिधियों को स्वस्थ बहस के लिए उपयुक्त वातावरण उपलब्ध कराएं और शिष्ट संवाद तथा चर्चा को प्रोत्साहित करें। पीठासीन अधिकारी की जवाबदेही क्षेत्र की जनता के प्रति भी होती है। सदन के अध्यक्ष का आसन उनकी गरिमा और दायित्व दोनों का प्रतीक होता है, जहां बैठकर वह पूरी निष्पक्षता और न्याय भावना से कार्य करते हैं। निष्पक्षता और न्याय भावना से काम करना हमारी संसदीय लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था का आधार है।
He observed that the democratic system has proved to be the most effective means of people's welfare and that members and presiding officers should maintain each other's dignity for the betterment of people and progress of the country.
लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था जनता के कल्याण का सर्वाधिक प्रभावी माध्यम सिद्ध हुई है। इसलिए संसद एवं विधानमंडल का सदस्य होना अपने आप में सभी के लिए गौरव की बात है। सभी सदस्यों को और पीठासीन अधिकारियों को जनता की भलाई तथा देश की तरक्की के लिए एक दूसरे की मर्यादा बनाए रखनी चाहिए। पीठासीन अधिकारियों की गरिमा का ध्यान रखने से सांसदों और विधायकों का अपना सम्मान भी बढ़ता है और लोगों के मन में संसदीय लोकतंत्र के प्रति आदर भाव भी बना रहता है।
The President also said that Parliament and legislative assemblies are the cornerstone of our parliamentary system. He stressed that the democratic system is eventually governed by the supreme goal of people's welfare, especially the upliftment of the poor, backward and the deprived sections of our society and the progress of the country. He expressed confidence that the three organs of governance together will continue to work towards achieving this goal.
लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था अंततः लोक कल्याण, विशेष रूप से गरीबों, पिछड़ों और वंचितों के उत्थान और देश की प्रगति के परम ध्येय से संचालित होती है। मेरा विश्वास है कि शासन के तीनों अंग मिलकर इस ध्येय को प्राप्त करने की दिशा में कार्य करते रहेंगे।
The President also exuded confidence that the democratic system will be further strengthened by adopting the conclusions drawn from the deliberations during the conference. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV. Vice President and Chairman of Rajya Sabha Venkaiah Naidu said that the Constitution demarcated clear domains for each of the three organs of democracy on the lines of separation of powers. He also said that decency, dignity and decorum of the temples of democracy will be upheld only through adherence to 3 Ds, namely debate, discuss and decide.
Addressing the 80th edition of the All India Presiding Officers Conference, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu said that harmony lies in each of the three organs of democracy doing their job without interfering with that of the others. This warrants a spirit of mutual respect, responsibility and restraint. He voiced concern that there have been several instances of these organs crossing boundaries.
There have been cases when rules framed under the delegated subordinate legislation violated the provisions of the original legislation by the Parliament. At times, the legislature too has tended to cross the line The 39th Constitutional Amendment, placing the election of the President and Vice President and Prime Minister beyond the scope of judicial scrutiny in the circumstance in 1975, is one such instance. There have been quite a few judicial pronouncements that gave a distinct impression of an overreach. These actions have resulted in an avoidable blurring of the contours demarcated by the Constitution.
The Vice President asserted that once each organ has an overarching goal and has the larger public interest in view, the foundation for a synergetic functioning will be laid. This spirit will have to be constantly protected and nurtured with mutual respect and a high sense of responsibility. The Vice President also pointed out that concerns have been raised as to whether the judiciary is entering the domains of the legislative and executive wings. Vice President Naidu also said that presiding officers have a major role to play in furthering the cause of parliamentary democracy. He also expressed concern over frequent disruptions, conduct of legislators both within and outside the chambers, rising number of legislators with criminal background, and rising money power in elections. He also cited frequent disruptions during question hour. The Vice President urged the presiding officers to take necessary measures to make operational committees in all the legislatures.
Both the House of Parliament, where they have taken a solemn pledge, but this is followed more in violation. Citing frequent disruption of the question hour, it was shifted from 11 a.m. to 12 noon in 2014 in the Rajya Sabha. During 2010-14, only 32.39% of the question hour time was made use of, while 67.61% of the valuable question hour time was lost due to disruptions and forced adjournment. Not this particular regime. This tenure or earlier tenure. But after question hour was shifted, only 26.25% of the question time was availed in the next year, 2015. For the 5-year period, 2015 and 19, only 41.39% of the question hour time was made use of. Through this is an effective instrument to take on the government to task by asking important questions for oral replies from the government, which is an important part of the oversight function of the House. In fact, over the last 30 years, utilization of question hour time has been declining. This is a matter of serious concern. Decorum, 3 Ds, of the temples of democracy will be upheld only through adherence to the 3 Ds, that is, debate, discuss, and decide, not going or resorting to the 4th D, that is disruption. One of us.
The Vice President cautioned that unabated disruption seriously erode the standing of legislatures and that lack of harmony in the functioning will seriously erode the legitimacy of all the 3 organs of the state.
Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla said that in a democracy, there can be a difference of opinion among institutions, but harmonious coordination between organs of the democracy is of paramount importance. He said that harmonious coordination between the legislature, executive and judiciary is of utmost importance, as all the 3 organs are dedicated to public welfare and they're also endowed with powers to do the same. The Lok Sabha Speaker is also the chairperson of the conference, which is now in its centenary year.
विचार विमर्श करने हेतु हमने तीनों लोकतंत्र के स्तंभ, उन पर विशेष रूप से किस तरीके से हम आपस में समन्वय बनाकर और अपने संवैधानिक उत्तरदायित्वों को पूरा कर सकते हैं। शासन के विभिन्न अंगों के बीच सौहार्दपूर्ण सहअस्तित्व और देश के लोकतंत्र के सतत विकास के लिए ये विषय आज के संदर्भ में समसामयिक है। हम सबका मकसद जनता के हितों का संरक्षण करना ही है। अपनी अपनी संस्थाओं के माध्यम से इस संवैधानिक प्रावधानों और लोकतांत्रिक प्रणाली के तहत प्रक्रियाओं में सुधार और उसका समाधान निकालने की जिम्मेदारी हमारी है। मैं इस मौके पर यहां पधारे सभी पीठासीन अधिकारी जो अपनी अपनी संस्थाओं का प्रतिनिधित्व करते हैं, जिनका दायित्व होता है कि हम अपनी संस्थाओं के माध्यम से लोकतंत्र को सशक्त करें, मजबूत करें, जनता के प्रति जवाबदेह बनें, ये हमारी जिम्मेदारी है।
At the presiding officers conference, senior officials and the state administration ensured strict adherence to the guidelines specified for COVID protocol. The participants were requested to get their RT-PCR tests conducted 72 hours prior to their arrival. Comprehensive arrangements related to health checkups have been put in place, including facilities of rapid antigen tests which are available at the venue. Social distancing and other guidelines are also strictly being adhered to. The movement of participants has been made unidirectional to avoid face-to-face interactions. And time for a short break here, but more news and updates will continue on the other side. Do stay with us.
Defeat coronavirus. Let us always remember: wear a mask, wash hands, follow physical distancing. Together, we'll succeed. Together, we'll win against COVID-19.
Welcome back. You're watching News Tonight. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday asserted that universities are not just a center of higher education, but they are a powerhouse of making characters and providing inspiration. He was speaking at the celebration of Centennial Foundation Day of the Lucknow University. The university was established in 1920 and is celebrating its 100th year. Addressing the gathering via video conferencing, the Prime Minister exhorted the university to offer courses on the local arts and products and called for research to do value addition to these local products.
साथियों, यूनिवर्सिटी सिर्फ उच्च शिक्षा का केंद्र भर नहीं होती। ये ऊंचे लक्ष्यों, ऊंचे संकल्पों को साधने की शक्ति को हासिल करने का भी एक बहुत बड़ा पावर हाउस होता है, एक बहुत बड़ी ऊर्जा भूमि होती है, प्रेरणा भूमि होती है। यह हमारे कैरेक्टर के निर्माण का, हमारे भीतर की ताकत को जगाने की प्रेरणा स्थली भी है। यूनिवर्सिटी के शिक्षक साल दर साल अपने स्टूडेंट्स के इंटेलेक्चुअल, एकेडमिक और फिजिकल डेवलपमेंट को निखारते हैं।
The Prime Minister also called upon students and teachers to discuss the new education policy.
आज हम देख रहे हैं कि देश के नागरिक कितने संयम के साथ कोरोना की इस मुश्किल चुनौती का सामना कर रहे हैं, देश को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। साथियों, देश को प्रेरित करने वाले, प्रोत्साहित करने वाले नागरिकों का निर्माण शिक्षा के ऐसे ही संस्थानों में ही होता है। लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी दशकों से अपने इस काम को बखूबी निभा रही है।
The Prime Minister also unveiled the university's centennial commemorative coin on the occasion. He also released a special commemorative postal stamp issued by India Post and its special cover during the online event. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh were also present on the occasion. The Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday, approved equity infusion of 6,000 crore rupees in NIIF debt platform sponsored by National Investment and Infrastructure Fund. This was one of the 12 key measures made by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman as part of the government's stimulus to the economy under Atmanirbhar Bharat 3.0 on the 12th of November.
ये जो नेशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फंड है, इसमें आज के कैबिनेट ने निर्णय किया कि 6,000 करोड़ रुपए का निवेश करेंगे। पहले तो 6,000 करोड़ सरकार देगी, 7,000 करोड़ रुपए ये नेशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फंड जो है वो खुद इक्विटी के रूप में लोगों से लाएगी।
In another major announcement, the Cabinet approved the scheme of amalgamation of Lakshmi Vilas Bank with DBS Bank India Limited. Addressing the media, Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said the decision is in line with the government's commitment to a clean banking system while protecting the interests of depositors and the public as well as the financial system. Besides this, the government also approved a memorandum of understanding signed between BRICS countries on cooperation in the field of physical culture and sports. The Sports Ministry apprised the Cabinet about the Memorandum of Understanding. Prakash Javadekar also informed that CCEA has approved foreign direct investment of 2,480 crore rupees by ATC Asia Pacific for purchasing about 12% stock of ATC Telecom.
So Lakshmi Vilas Bank will be amalgamated with Development Bank India Limited, a private bank. The 20 lakh depositors and 20,000 crore deposits are now fully secured. They need not worry. They need not rush. Their deposits are in the best hands, which is a stable bank, a prosperous bank, which has an international presence, which has a very strong balance sheet, which has a capital adequacy.
A look now at the COVID-19 situation. India's coronavirus case load went past 92 lakh with 44,376 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. 76.51% of the new cases were from 10 states and union territories, with Delhi reporting the highest of 6,224 fresh cases, followed by Maharashtra at 5,439 and Kerala at 5,420. 481 fatalities pushed the death toll to 1,34,699. Of the 481 deaths, 74.22% are concentrated in 10 states and union territories. Delhi reported 109 deaths, while West Bengal had a fatality count of 49 and Uttar Pradesh 33. The present active case load at 4.44 lakh accounts for 4.82% of the total active cases. 37,816 new recoveries on the day brought the total number of recoveries to 86,42,000. The country's overall recovery rate stands at 93.72%. Nearly 11,60,000 COVID samples were tested in the country in the last 24 hours. And with this, India's total cumulative tests have crossed 13.5 crore. Comprehensive and widespread testing on a sustained basis has resulted in bringing down the positivity rate. The national cumulative rate has touched 6.84%, while the daily positivity rate stands at 3.83%. Meanwhile, India is rapidly scaling up its testing infrastructure, ensuring easily accessible COVID-19 tests for all. The country now has 2,138 laboratories, including 1,167 government and 971 private labs. And the Home Ministry on Wednesday issued fresh guidelines in the wake of recent spike in new cases in a few states. The Home Ministry said that states and union territories can impose local restrictions like night curfew to check the spread of COVID-19. However, they will have to consult the centre before imposing any lockdown outside the containment zones. The main focus of guidelines for surveillance, containment and caution for December is to consolidate the substantial gains that have been achieved against the spread of COVID-19. The Home Ministry also said that states and union territories are mandated to strictly enforce containment measures, SOPs on various activities and COVID-appropriate behavior, as well as regulating the crowds. The guidelines will be effective from the 1st of December to the 31st. Cyclone Nivar is likely to intensify into a very severe cyclonic storm and cross the coast between Tamil Nadu and Puducherry before dawn on Thursday. It has triggered widespread rain in several areas of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. Chennai and its suburbs, which received heavy overnight rains, continue to witness intermittent showers coupled with strong winds. Over 1 lakh people have been evacuated to government relief centres across Tamil Nadu. Besides, power supply has been disconnected in vulnerable areas as a precautionary measure. Chief Minister K. Palaniswamy has declared Thursday a public holiday for 13 districts in view of cyclone. Senior Congress leader and the party's top strategist Ahmed Patel passed away at a Gurugram hospital on Wednesday due to multiple organ failure. 71-year-old Ahmed Patel was suffering from complications related to COVID-19. Patel, who was critical for the last few days, was admitted to the Medanta Hospital in Gurugram on the 15th of November after he developed complications. President Kovind, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, besides Congress leaders, including party chief Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, as well as various union ministers, condoled Ahmed Patel's demise. President Kovind condoled the death of the veteran Congress leader Ahmed Patel. He called Patel an astute parliamentarian and said he had the skills of a strategist and the charm of a mass leader. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu expressed anguish over the passing away of Rajya Sabha MP Ahmed Patel. The Vice President, in fact, hailed his ability to maintain cordial relations with leaders across the political spectrum. Prime Minister Narendra Modi remembered Ahmed Patel's role in strengthening the Congress party. While Congress interim President Sonia Gandhi said she lost an irreplaceable comrade, faithful colleague and a friend. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi also mourned the loss of a tremendous asset. He said that Ahmed Patel was a pillar of the Congress party. An 8-time parliamentarian, Ahmed Patel held 5 terms in Rajya Sabha and 3 in Lok Sabha. His first term as parliamentarian began in 1977, when then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi selected him to contest elections for the 6th Lok Sabha from Bharuch. In 2005, he was inducted into the Rajya Sabha for his 4th term. Patel had been one of the key strategists of the Congress party since the time of former Prime Ministers Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. In 1984, Ahmed Patel was appointed as one of the 3 parliamentary secretaries in the Rajiv Gandhi cabinet, and later he became political secretary to Sonia Gandhi after she took over as the Congress chief. He was currently the Congress treasurer, a post that he occupied thrice. So that's it from us in this bulletin. But before we leave, we once again appeal to all our viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash hands and face regularly, and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. Good night and thank you very much for your time.